I bet nobody else has that in there. How to create more margin in your life. Going, bah, 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 bah. I'm not going to tell you to put down your black rectangle of doom and gloom. What are you, a 22-year-old? What are you, in college? You're going to remember that? No, you're not. Greetings, everybody. It is your girl, Kelsey Humphreys, rom-com author, comedian, YouTuber, vlogger, podcaster, oversharer, bestie. And I'm so glad you're here for this episode because we've talked a lot about being busy and stressed and overwhelmed. And I want to talk to you today about how to slow down your life. This is important. If this is your first time here, this is a great place to start because we're all busy and we're all feeling behind and we're all stressed and overwhelmed. But I do need to do a little bit of housekeeping right off the bat. I want to tell you that if you are one of my audio-only girlies, I'm really stepping up my YouTube game, adding more YouTube-only content, some video content over there. So I encourage you to swap on over. If you love listening to the Happy Tears podcast, I think you will love watching it even more. If you're a YouTube girly, welcome back. Listen, the Happy Tears podcast is an inspiring, uplifting comedy show. So let's dive into what to do when your life is so jam-packed, full, overwhelmed that it sucks and you see no way out. Before we dive into today's topic, which is super important and I think will be super helpful because I promise to not tell you any tip that you've heard before, any of the trite, like normal, like how to create more margin in your life type content. I'm not going to tell you any of those because we've already heard them and they work great in like cookie cutter perfect world. But I want to talk to people in the real world. Unfortunately, we're in the real world and not my fictional worlds that I write. I promise you, you will hear something new, interesting, different today, especially points, I think 4 and 5. But before I get to that, another piece of housekeeping. I canceled most of the tour. I am sad about this, but also relieved about this because I was so stressed about the amount of work it takes for me to leave. And I am all for working women. I am all for moms hustling, side hustle, build your business, build an empire, have a stay-at-home husband. I don't care. But the fact is it's different when the kids are little, when mom leaves versus when dad leaves. It just is. And as much as I was trying to get all my ducks in a row and have people, help with school pickup and making dinner and, being here in the evenings just to be a helping hand because 1 on 6, like my husband has left. I know what it's like. It is really difficult. And I was so stressed. And then on top of that, I didn't start promoting early enough. I don't have the numbers. I mean, I have thousands and thousands of readers and followers, but not enough like actually on my email list to go buy tickets. Not enough of you actually listening to this who are like diehards, which is why I keep saying like, we got to tell people, we got to share the word about the show and about me. As a comedian, as a creator, because I just didn't flat out have enough numbers to justify the emotional toll it was taking on me. And I also didn't start early enough. These little indie bookstores, like I emailed them months ago. I told them everything, about the event, about the book. And then we're getting down right to the wire. And they're like, wait, what? Wait, what do you mean stand-up comedy? Wait, what do you mean? And it was just like, guys, come on. By the time they actually posted the link event and I was able to actually post like, hey, the tour is happening, we were like a couple weeks away from the very first event. Like you need to have at least 6 weeks of promotion before the date of hard promotion, both me and the bookstore. And that is not really how the bookstores do it. They basically post once about all of the author signings that they have that month, maybe twice. And that just wasn't enough for a ticketed, event. This wasn't a free author signing. I think that would have been totally different. This was a ticketed event. And so I could be embarrassed about this and hem and haw about it and like try to hide it or like gloss over it. But I'm frankly too old for that. These are the facts. I said it was a test and I'm going to go balls to the walls in Oklahoma City and Dallas. Those are the events you can still come to. Even though this is sad news, there's some happy news, which is I have decided to put the special edition that was going to be in person only. I have put this for sale on my website. So if you want this special edition with the illustrations, you want it signed, you want me to write you a note, you want me to put on lipstick and kiss it for you, whatever you'd like, I have this for sale on my website now, so everybody can get the tour exclusive. It will come down when the tour is over, so you still can only buy it through November, but now you don't have to come in person to get the special edition, which is super fun. I also want to show you, look what I got. Look what I got. Look at this. I have some holiday merch in the store. I'd rather be in Juniper Falls, your holiday town the whole year round. And then on the back, it says, Merry Bookmas from me. Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? So I'm happy to finally have some Christmas merch in my store. So all of that, you can go kelseyhumphreys.com and click on shop. Okay, I think that's it for the housekeeping. Now, somewhere between, like we've talked about in past episodes, the homesteader, homeschooler, make your own homemade breaders with their goats. Somewhere between that and like hardcore hustle culture are us normies. And in the year of homeschooling that we had, I learned so much about slow living because it is way slower. The pace of life is way slower because you're in charge of it. And if you don't want to school your children that day, you don't have to, which was part of our problem. But because we're no longer homeschooling for that reason and many others, I learned a lot though. I always make fun, but the reality is I believe in homeschooling. I think it's amazing. We had some needs that I could not meet, I felt, as their mom and teacher. And so we found this little private school that could take all 5 school age kids. And so that has been amazing, but I do miss a lot of things about homeschooling, and I learned a lot about slow living, but I'm not going to tell you any of the stuff you've heard before. So I've got 5 tips. Number 1, I need you to know that it's all your fault. Did I mention this is a comedy podcast and I'm here to make you feel better? You are in charge. You, the mom. If I don't think I have any men listening to this, but if I do, you, the parents, you guys are in charge. You, the mom, run the household. You run the calendar. Like, I know you and your husband work together to like go over like, hey, what things do we want to commit to? Does this fit into our schedule? I'm sure you have like weekly sit downs like this, what's going on in our life. But at the end of the day, we all know it's the moms. It's the moms, right? And so if you are finding that there is no extra wiggle room in your life and everyone is just running to school and then you're running to after school activities and then you're eating dinner on the go and then you're getting to bed late and you're waking up right at the, just barely getting up with enough time to get to school, all of that is indeed your fault. Maybe you do need to wake up earlier. Okay, I'm not going to put that as a tip, but it is a thing. I want to give an example. Everybody always asks, like, how do we get to church on time? Because we have 6 kids. We get there, we check everyone into their I think we have 4 different check-ins for their different ages. And we still sit down in the pew before church starts. Like, we get there and the counter is still on the screen most Sundays, which I feel like I'm like, I'm pretty proud of that. And people ask us, like, how do you do that? Well, let me tell you, we either have our butts in the car at 9:30 for a 10 o'clock service, and it only takes us 15 minutes to get there. But if our butts are not in the car at 9:30, we don't even bother. I mean, we will, but we'll be late. And we get up early, and I start getting ready on Sundays early. And, I might be totally ready, or my husband might be totally ready by 8:30, which gives us enough time to wrangle all the children and get all the shoes on. And let's try and brush our teeth. I mean, we might go to church with egg breath. So, yeah, maybe you need to get up earlier. Maybe you need to leave the house earlier. Maybe you need to set more alarms. Maybe. But the sub point to point number 1 is that it's all your fault, which means you can fix it. You can change it. Okay? This is encouraging. This is inspiring. You are not along for the ride of your life. You're not. You are in charge. You are the driver. You are in the driver's seat, whether or not it feels like it right now in this season. And I get, trust me, I get that there are some things we can't help. There are some obligations we can't change or move. There is space. There is. You can find it. Where right now you're thinking, yeah, well, if I just canceled this one thing, or if I just went to bed earlier, or if I just stayed up a little bit later, or if I just woke up a little bit earlier, or if I changed this one thing and canceled this one, like, you already know, right? So yes, it's your fault, but that means you can fix it. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm not going to tell you to put down your black rectangle of doom and gloom. I'm not going to tell you to not have your phone in your room at night or not wake up and look at your phone, because I think that's all malarkey. We're living in 2025. We're all addicted to our phones. But I am going to tell you that a lot of the stress in my life is from multitasking. And I don't mean like heavy duty multitasking. I mean, during this stage, I'm basically following around my 1.5-year-old son. That's like my job. I'm just on death patrol. Please don't pick anything up and put it in your mouth and choke. Please don't climb up on anything, fall off and die. Like, that is my job from like 4 to 7 p.m. And it's super boring. and tiring. I don't understand how following a tiny person around and doing nothing else is so tiring, but it is. Like, is it the most tiring part of parenting? Am I in the worst season? Every mom thinks they're in the hardest season. It is one of those things I think everybody looks back and is like, oh yeah, that's an annoying phase because, death is a real threat. So you got to walk around with them. And if I'm just walking around following him, it is boring. And, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen the clock tick by slower than it is right now. Love my children, but holy Toledo Batman, could time go any slower? However, it's much worse if I'm trying to do something else. I mean, you would think I would be able to like half watch him, half, post something on my phone or respond to an email or call someone or do a little bit of laundry or do a little bit of dishes. It makes me a rage monster. Multitasking is the enemy. I mean, I keep wanting to like give exceptions to this rule. Like, well, you can do laundry and talk to your child. Well, you can, listen to this and also do that. And you can, but we're killing ourselves. So that if you want to feel less frazzled, quit multitasking. Number 3, this is a Kelsey original. I made this up and I'm pretty proud of it. Number 3, pour into the pockets. The little pockets of time that you do have. Let's say you are looking at your calendar and you really cannot change anything. Well, let's look at what you do have. Okay. For example, right now it takes our little school is not close by. It takes forever to get to school. It takes forever to get home. So I am trying to use that time to talk to them, to put on music the kids love, to, jam out, get everyone out of the after school slump and into a happy mood. Like we're headed home. We're going to get the baby. Everybody loves to pick up the baby. We get him last from daycare and he comes in and he, the car door opens and he's just like, oh, it's all my favorite people in this one little rectangle. And all the kids are like, ah, it's so cute every day. And so like these are things, if you can take the little pockets that you have and maximize them for the most connection, the most joy, the most peace that you can in that pocket of time. You will have more pockets of time if you do cancel some sports. If you do like cut back and, like every kid gets one sport a semester. For us, that would be too many. I don't even think we could do that. For me right now, like if you want to do something extra, it has to be at the school. It has to be on campus, a part of your school day if we can do it. Or at least where I'm dropping you off at school and one of your friends is bringing you home. And we did before the summer, we were doing gymnastics, ballet, jujitsu. And now I'm like, no, we're not. No, we might try that again in the spring. But with going to a new school, getting our new routines down, we didn't want to have a bunch of extracurriculars. People will say outsource more. I have a housekeeper who comes 3 times a week. I could not live without her. I have, we have the same dinners that we rotate through and we get sick of them and we know it, but it's also kind of like, well, every time we try something new, only half of you eat it. It's way more work for me to try and come up with it. And then you don't eat it anyway. Let's just eat sloppy joes. We will eat it. I will make it. Take some of that brain space and freeze it up because I know we're just going through the rotation of the few things that everyone will eat. So how do we do that? How do we pour into the pockets of time that we have? Well, if you have, an hour where everyone's together, don't let anybody be on electronics. Don't have the TV on if you only have an hour, right? Let's all sit and do a puzzle. Can you put in, let's all play a board game? Things where you're like high connection and it's peaceful. There's nothing stimulating. Nothing's making music or popping out at you or, giving you notifications. Those kinds of analog things, old school things, take that 1 hour of time and slow them down considerably. It is amazing. Can you take some of the chores and do them together? Can everybody do the chores all together at the same time? Can you find ways where you're really making the most of some of the mundane moments? Could you switch up bedtime where I mean, such a little bit goes a long way. You add 5 minutes into the bedtime routine for I don't know, going around and talking about your favorite part of the day, or some sort of, something that you could add in that fosters connection, and everybody gets to share. We do that like favorite part of the day, either in the car or we do it at dinner, but it could be easily be put into bedtime. And I'm just trying to think of like older families where everyone's on the go. If everyone's getting home at 9 p.m., what could you do then? We also do Bible time as a family. All of us together sit down and do Bible time, except for right now I'm usually putting the baby down during Bible time. But, that's one of those things. Can you all sit down for 10 minutes and do it together? Those 10 minutes add what feels like hours of peace to your family. It slows down bedtime considerably. So just finding those pockets and putting as much peace, calm, stillness, and connection into those that you can. That's not to say it has to be a peaceful activity. It could be jumping on the trampoline. But if you're all doing it together, that makes a big difference. Okay, number 4, this is another one I feel like is just, I'm a genius. Is everybody ready? This is one of my great pieces of advice. Before I get to it, though, I have to remind you that the Happy Tears podcast is brought to you by my books. Please buy them. Please pre-order Happy Christmas, which comes out September 30th. If you know a reader, if you have a friend and you're like, I should give them one of Kelsey's books, start with Things I Should Have Said. That is number 1 in the series, and then they will be hooked, and then they will read the whole series. If you are interested in becoming a writer and my writing life, go to kelseyhumphreys.com/writing, or start watching the new vlogs that I'm doing that show more about my process and what I'm working on between now and New Year. So I told myself I would film my author mom life and start vlogging. First vlog video interrupted. Hey. Children 1, Kelsey 0. It's a vlog, so it's a video blog of our family too. It shows like my day-to-day life or a week in my life or whatever, but I am working on specific writing goals, so I think you might find that interesting. But if you're not a writer and you're just a reader, please, please, please buy my books. Buy yourself a new Christmas swag bag. I will be giving some of these away, so be on the lookout for that. I will be doing some giveaways. Okay, number 4. Is everybody ready? This is one of my great pieces of advice from Kelsey Humphreys on how to have more peace and margin in your life, and that is quit trusting your brain. You are the problem. This is different than point number 1. But yeah, you can't remember it all, and you're trying. And then you forget things, and then everything becomes stressful. I have to have a Google Calendar and a written weekly at a glance calendar. And we have a family monthly calendar everyone can see. And I have a 3-month long-term calendar that I can see. So it's a mixture of paper and digital. Every time the kids' teachers send me an email, which there are more than 5 of them because some of the kids have more than one teacher, right? Anytime I get an email, electives too. I mean, the amount of teacher emails that I get. It's triggering. It's traumatic. Please give me your thoughts and prayers during this time as I adjust to going back to a school setting with all the teachers and all the emails and all the different apps. Anyways, every time one comes in, I leave it as unread until I can sit and then input it in all the different places. Is it in my personal planner? Is it on the long-term calendar that's a month at a time? Is it in Google if it needs to be something that I need to be able to do some logistics with my husband? So it's somebody has to pick up, somebody has to drop off, it's changing our routines. And then is it on the long-term calendar that has like 3 months at a glance where I can see what days the kids are off school and when is Christmas break and all that stuff? I don't trust my brain for nothing. I call it perimenopause, call it postpartum, call it just general overwhelm, call it, all of us being overstimulated in 2025 by our devices and our social media and our notifications. Your brain is crap. Quit trusting it to remember stuff. Okay? This is what I really think is part of the problem. If you don't have multiple systems, if you don't have fail safes, like you can't just write something down once. What are you, a 22-year-old? What are you, in college? You're going to remember that? No, you're not. You can't write something down once. You've got to have a bunch of ways to back yourself up. You got to support you. I bet nobody else has that in there. How to create more margin in your life, podcasts and videos, right? Okay, now number 5 is one that you probably will have heard, but maybe didn't expect for me to put in here. And this is, if you can, sit and read aloud to your kids. Studies on this are unbelievable. The effect even on older kids. So my 2 oldest kids still just like become enraptured when I read aloud a chapter book. And I really was skeptical at the beginning because this is a thing. People are evangelists. There are read aloud evangelists. Like, this is the one thing that will fix everything in your life. And it comes pretty close. I'm not going to lie, because everybody just kind of stops to listen. It is harder right now in this season of life because of the toddler, or 1.5. Is 1.5 a toddler? I guess. But our youngest tends to just, he sees me reading and being animated and talking, and he starts going, bah, 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 bah. It kind of kills the vibe of the story. And I also thought about like introducing audiobooks on the way home, but I haven't done that yet. I need to pick one and put it in because that can have a similar effect, but it's not the same as you, the mom or the dad, doing this. I can't oversell it. Like, just do it. It feels weird the first time. The kids might be like, what? Even, especially if you have teenagers, like, what? Just be like, listen. I know that this might not be trending on TikTok, but we're going to do it. We're going to try this one book. I'm going to read it to you. It's supposed to be like good for us as a family, good for your brains, good for my brain. We're going to do it. We're going to try this one book. It's incredible, and it will slow down your life for that time. Again, any analog thing. And if you really hate that idea, again, what I said before, like if you could find something you enjoy doing. When I sit and do the monthly calendars, the little girls love the stickers. And so I have a bunch of old stickers that I don't use anymore. We get it all out. And then my oldest daughter, she actually does her own calendar that she keeps up in her room, and she decorates it. And we have, everything is color coded in our family for each person. And so we get out all the markers, and like that's an example of something that we do, but that's only once a month. Reading aloud we can do much more regularly. So if you could start a puzzle, or something you enjoy, maybe everybody takes up watercolor, I don't know, but those analog activities, if you, the mom, okay, previously when I was talking about pockets of time, I was more talking about like making the kids sit and do something together. But if you, the mom, or you, the parents, or you and your husband can sit and do this slow activity with them, which I think should be reading aloud, it really will slow down time. It really changes the dynamic of those few moments. Everybody starts to look forward to it, and the kids really get mad if somebody interrupts, or if I'm like, okay, we're too ADHD today. We're not focused. I can't read anymore. And then the older one's always like, oh man. So, and I did not expect that. I did not expect the older ones to love it so much. Those are my tips for slowing down your busy, hectic, crazy life. That's it for this episode. If you happen to see me out in the wild and it's just me and my 1.5-year-old, and I am doing absolutely nothing but staring at the back of his head, so bored I start crying, remember, those are happy tears.